What's up, everyone? My name is Blue, and we are back with some more malicious compliance posts, following the rules to make people look like fools. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. And with that, let's get into it. I'm not allowed to cook food off my own judgment in a semi-busy fast food restaurant, KFC, and can only cook when you tell me to? Enjoy the coming storm. So my previous job was as a cook at a local KFC, which was one of the faster ones in the area. I had been there for 3.5 years and didn't really have too many problems with management. And I was actually friends with some of them. But then, one of the senior staff got promoted to a shift runner. And that's when this already average job got worse. To put it into perspective, because I had been at the job for a couple of years doing the same thing daily, I knew my stuff. I knew how much chicken we would need on a given night, and I could pretty much do my chicken runs by myself. And all the other managers let me do it because they were often too busy to watch and manage chicken. This newly promoted manager didn't like that I was bypassing her in the so-called chain of command and not listening to projections, which were inaccurate the majority of the time, and started getting annoyed. Sure, sometimes we had a bit of wastage, but everyone else agreed it was better to have a couple of pieces left over than to make a customer wait 30 minutes continuously. So, this manager had a go at me, and our conversation went like this. Manager: Prankish Space 4, you're not allowed to cook what you want. You have to wait till I tell you what to cook and cook exactly the amount I tell you to. Me: even when it is super busy, you want me to interrupt you packing orders and making burgers to get you to tell me what I already know needs cooking? Manager: yes, I don't care how busy, I will tell you what to cook. You have to wait for me to tell you. This happened on a Tuesday night, the busiest night at KFC where I live, due to a promotion on chicken. 9 pieces for $10.95. So, I didn't cook unless she told me to, and in a matter of 30 to 45 minutes, we were out of the original and spicy chicken, with drive-through full and many customers waiting on chicken. The manager walks out back, and me and the other cook are laughing, cleaning things and sweeping the floor. No chicken was down, the fryers were on cool, so it would take a bit to heat up, and nothing was set up. The manager proceeded to yell at us, asking why there was no chicken cooking, and saying customers were waiting and they were completely out. I just turned to her and said, well, you told me today I couldn't cook without permission, and you haven't told us to cook for the past hour. The amount of complaints and pissed off customers having a go at staff members was insane. Sure, I was behind for the remainder of my shift, and we got a lot of flack from customers that night, but she started letting us cook to judgment from then on. Plenty more stories of BS from KFC of illegal things happening. Super glad to be out of that crap hole. Edit: you guys seem to love this. Plenty of other crappy stories from my time serving at KFC. Just some clarifying info of more info. 9-piece meal super popular, could only cook 54 pieces per original clamshell and 36 pieces per spicy clamshell. Meant it usually goes quick as heck on Tuesdays. This was in Australia. Yes, we have burgers at KFC. Yes, projections were wrong majority of the time, and yes, I have plenty more stories just like this because I feel fast food breeds this type of story. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, manager screwing up stuff that's not broke. Seriously, how many times on this channel so far have we heard about someone getting promoted to manager and then screwing up everything and then it all has to go back to the way it was anyways. Tell me to drop the class if I don't like your rules? Okay, then you'll lose 5 students and your job. This happened years ago, but a post on here reminded me of it. So when I was a freshman in college, I registered for a basic-ass English 102 course that doubled as a humanities credit. I thought, great, 2 birds, 1 stone. Despite the rate my professor for this class being abysmal at best. A few things to note. I have ADHD and dyslexia, BS, DS, PS, and GS. So I have a hard time reading most times, but especially handwritten stuff, even my own. It's also important to note that I had an ADA allowance on file, meaning I get some permissions to allow me to take classes and function as normally as possible. These permissions included use of my tablet during class to write notes and about an hour longer on tests. Well, first day of class, the professor strolls in with the arrogance and snobitude of someone who thinks they're getting tenured this year. He starts talking, going over the syllabus, and says, "There will be no phones, laptops, or technology of any kind in my class. You will write all your notes by hand." Which isn't going to work for me. So I raise my hand and ask him if I can talk to him privately about the rule. That went over about as well as a lead balloon, and he starts getting snippy and says, "Anything you need to talk with me about can be found in the syllabus." But again, I said that I needed to talk to him and that it was pretty important. Finally, he just says to say it to the class. He doesn't have time to take out to deal with whining of any kind. Like, okay, dude. So I say that I'm dyslexic and need my tablet to do the notes and read the assignments, and that my ADA permissions are on file and emailed to all of my professors before class. He says, "Yeah, I saw the email, but I don't care. You can do the work just like everyone else. You're not special, even if you were in special ed." The class goes deadly quiet at that. I'm absolutely shocked at his bold and completely hilarious lack of awareness and care for his job. I'm staring at him open-mouthed, and he thinks he's won. He's got this smug little face like I've just been told. And there are no other options, nor is there any way he'll regret his behavior. One of the girls in class finally finds her voice and calls Hun out in his ableism and lack of decorum, but he cuts her off saying, "If you don't like my rules, you can drop the class." So she says, "Okay," and pulled out her laptop and dropped the class right in front of him. And taking the cue from her, 3 other students and I do the same, and we leave class together at the same time. I've never met this girl before, but she then asked me if I want to go to the dean because honestly, I'm really shaken. So I said yes, and we go straight there telling the dean of students what happened, as well as the ADA counselor. They took the girl's statement and mine and discovered that this professor had pulled this stuff for years, but nobody wanted to get involved. 6 months later, I hear that not only had the professor not gotten tenured, but he was fired and blacklisted from teaching at the collegiate level. Edit. Wow, this blew up, oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for the awards, and I'm trying to reply to everyone, but it's a lot. I really appreciate the awards, but please don't spend real money on me. Give it to a women's shelter or ADA foundation. How delusional is this professor to think like that's an acceptable way to go about it? How had he not been called on this kind of stuff way before now if he was doing this for years? That's insane. And that's all the time we have today for these malicious compliance stories. If you liked any of the stories, make sure to click that like button, and if you could relate to them, make sure to tell us in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any more stories. Thanks for listening, everyone. Catch you later.